The takeaway here is if you hate God, fire him and hire a better one. Hey YubTub, it's Bob West. I'm here to vomit my opinions of Supernatural's penultimate episode, Inherit the Earth, on you guys. So, at least compared to my husband and immediate friend group, I seem to have much more favorable views of this episode, which is kind of wild considering that my views and opinions are pretty meh about the whole thing. I found it to have a lot of good moments and only a couple of glaring issues, but we'll break it down. Coming into it, I had very few expectations. I knew that it was the episode that they wrapped up Chuck, so I expected that, of course. I figured that that would entail getting all the people back. I knew that the promo had boasted a familiar face returning. I had guessed that it was Adam and Michael, so I was half right. My husband had remarked, yeah, watch it be fucking Lucifer again. So he wasn't really wrong either. And I expected some sort of view on how Dean felt about everything that went down with Cass. I had a feeling that they'd be finding a way to get rid of Jack so it could mainly focus on the brothers in the final episode, so that was where I was getting into the episode. Dean driving up to Sam and Jack felt appropriate. Everyone was a little shell-shocked. Dean gave the most bare-bones half-assed explanation of what happened with Cass. Very in character. So far, so good. They get into this restaurant. The tap is still going for unrealistically cinematic reasons. They talk a bit. Jack is murdering plants around him. And then, with very little conversation, suddenly Sam and Dean are waving a white flag at Chuck. Cool, fine. Whatever. Chuck tells him to fuck off, which is proper. This is all fine with me. Dean and Sam, struggling through living in the bunker post-world shattering news, felt in character. Jack comes out and is all like, my spider sense is tingling, and we're moving right along. We have a sidebar with a dog. I'm a sucker for cute dogs, so I'm all about Miracle. For a second I thought that Jack's plant killing was going to expand, and when Jack sat in the back with the dog was going to die, and I was so freaked out that that was going to happen that I was actually kind of relieved when he just got snapped away by Chuck. We get to Michael. Michael is fine. I figured we'd see him again, though I have to admit, I feel like we just went and got Michael so he could stop Lucifer later. When he proves useless, the boys settle into the kitchen, and I'm like, ah, yes, the part of the show where the boys talk about their feelings. I expected some sort of emotional closure with Sam talking about Eileen and Dean talking about Cass. Suddenly, phone ringing. It's Cass. I was surprised, to say the least. I did not expect to see Cass again. I figured they wouldn't have the balls for that. They didn't. It was Lucifer. Again. Fine, but I'm gonna be mad about it. Lucifer shanks the Reaper to make death. I thought the Empty kinda had murdered them all, but I guess she just killed some of them. There was a second where I thought it wasn't going to work and Lucifer was actually useless, but then it happened. New Death opens and reads the book, and then Lucifer immediately kills her because he just wanted it open. Kinda makes that whole kinda drawn out Death takes the book and goes away to read it scene just a waste of our time. But we gotta do something with our time because we certainly don't have anything better to do. Then Lucifer and Michael get into a slap fight, and that was the moment where I was done with Supernatural. Honestly. Season 5's big apocalypse was that if Lucifer and Michael fought, no matter who won, half the planet was going to be destroyed as fallout. I was already mad when season whatever had an amped up Lucifer and a Michael-powered Dean and terrible to watch wire acrobatics with a mild thunderstorm rolling in the background, but at least something sort of happened. They sort of tussle, I guess, not even knocking the things around them over, straight up missing each other without disturbing shelves or hurting people. At the absolute very fucking least, some furniture should be getting thrown around or destroyed. This library has seen more destruction when Dean and Cass have marital disputes than when two archangels supposedly capable of bringing the apocalypse fight to the death. Whatever. Maybe Jack's magical power sucking was making them fluffy kittens, but it feels like one or both of them might have noticed if that were the case.
How you doing? You okay?
A bit winded. Haven't been in a battle like that for several centuries.
Bruh.
They play a con on Michael, go set up their fake spell. Great. God kills Michael. Awesome. God is pissed off at the boys, and he decides that he's gonna slap them around. Good and slow. I like it. Then, I'm not really sure what happens. It feels like they just didn't get enough coverage on the entire God fight. In this entire encounter, I would have liked to see even a single wide shot. It felt so weird that there wasn't one. We also reuse a lot of shots, and more than that, we reuse a lot of audio clips. It just felt like they didn't film enough, and some poor editor just got the pile of clips and was like, wait, you want what? Shit. Actually, honestly, I feel like this entire episode was like that. Like the editors got it, and they were just like, "Guys, there isn't enough here to make a full episode," and it was like, "Well, you got what you got. Good luck." Which gives us long travel to get to Michael, death and the book shenanigans, weird looping god whoop ass, and then ignores things like any talk about their feelings or like any lead up to Jack becoming literally God at all. I personally liked the reason Jack could hoover up Chuck's holiness. Weird sidebar. Is Jack the Holy Spirit? I think Chuck is technically Jesus because Jesus was just God on earth. Is Jack the Holy Spirit? I don't actually know how Christianity works, but it's like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Or maybe they're all the same thing. But here they're all this. Whatever. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Never mind. I personally liked the reason that Jack could hoover up Chuck's holiness. I liked them leaving him alive as some nobody. I liked them driving away while he's all like, wait, no, fuck! I like imagining God having to walk on foot back to town and figure out how to get things like food and housing. Jack as God, I feel like was something that should have been obvious to me, but for some reason really wasn't. I think I took this scene to heart too well.
Okay, yeah, but then who takes over? Jack?
I just learned how to do that.
Probably not.
Jack fixes all the people in the world. Dean, for some reason, complete 180s on mentioning Cass being restored, even though he demanded it from Chuck. Now he doesn't care, I guess. Jack proves that being God just makes you a poetic douche immediately, quoting how he is everywhere. I guess that's his way of actually saying that he'll never see Sam and Dean again. But whatever, I guess. And then they just stand a little ways apart and look sad until he leaves. This boy is basically your son, and you like don't hug him? That whole scene felt like acquaintances talking. Like the amount of emotion I expect when they were saying goodbye to Cole for forever, not when they were saying goodbye to Jack for forever. Then we have a montage of the Olden Days, which feels like a weird choice, knowing that the next episode will be preceded by a 1 hour long look at the Olden Days, which makes it kind of redundant. But again, the entire episode feels like it's made of not enough footage to make a whole episode, so maybe it's just them compensating for that. In conclusion, it was okay. I felt like someone stood up and was like, Jack absorbs God's power and becomes the new God and can fix things. And everyone's like, yes, bravo, brilliant. And then they completely missed the mark on everything else they could have done for this entire episode. We have almost no emotional closure. I figured that was because we'd get a boatload of it in the next episode, but as we'll cover soon, that's not the case. We have a lot of pointless fluff and a lot of weird awkwardness, and I was surprised at how little they seemed to care about a character who has been part of Team Free Will for 3 whole years. Well, I'll be covering my opinions on the finale in the coming weeks. I have, as you might imagine, a lot to say on that. If you like hearing me talk about Supernatural or enjoy Supernatural Correct videos, I would love it if you'd subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, and if you hated it, feel free to smack that dislike. I'll see you guys the next time I have an opinion about a thing.